everyone, welcome to Christina Cakes It. I'm Christina and today I'm showing you how to make a Paw Patrol themed number cake. Today's episode came from a number of different ideas that I kind of blended together in order to create the perfect treat for my little nephew Davin, who just turned 3, and I'm actually a little bit late on sending his treats. Thankfully my niece Aubrielle already made him a cake, but this cake is gonna come later for him. And it's actually not even really a cake. So one of the really big trends out there are the cookie number cakes or cookie letter cakes, where it's like cookies stacked on one another in like a giant letter or a giant number. And so I really like that idea. And my nephew Davin is he just turned 3. So I had this idea that I could use the similar method that I used for my cake pop cake for this. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Styrofoam 3, I'm gonna cover it in little cake bites, but then I'm gonna make it Paw Patrol themed because of course, what 3-year-old doesn't love Paw Patrol? And it will be perfect for him to open. So to get started, just like in my other cake pop episodes, I'm just gonna start by making my little cake balls with the cake pop mixture. So I have already prepared some ahead of time, but I am gonna need some more to cover my 3. So I'm using an 8-inch funfetti layer. You can use whatever flavor you want. And I'm just going to mix it up with my little hand mixer. As I always say, you could use a food processor. That's actually gonna get a finer crumb, but you could just use a hand mixer, that works as well. So now that my cake layer is mixed, I'm gonna add some buttercream frosting. And this is just my basic vanilla buttercream. And I'm just gonna eyeball it. Generally with an 8-inch cake layer, like with this cake, my funfetti cake, it's probably gonna take like maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons. But this part is definitely key depending on your cake type. Some might be a little bit drier and some might have a little bit more moisture where you need less icing. So you just kind of have to test it out. So we're gonna mix our initial frosting in and test the consistency. So I'm just gonna test this out, and we want it to hold its shape and not be crumbly. I'm gonna add actually just a tiny bit more frosting to this. The first time I actually made cake pops, it's kind of a funny story. It was actually a little bit of a fail. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I used a cake mix to make the cake layer, and I actually used a whole tub of store-bought frosting. And it was way too much frosting, and basically they were like, honestly, it was kind of gross. Like, they just did not work out well. So the point of that story is that everybody starts somewhere. And also, do not use too much frosting in your cake pops. So this mixture is good. It is not crumbly, and I can see that it's holding its shape, and I can roll it into nice spheres. So from here, I'm just going to make little spheres with my cake pop mixture. And if you've seen my other episodes, you have seen this tool before. I highly recommend. It's actually a meat baller, but I never use it for that. I only use it for cake pops. And the reason I like it is because it makes even sizes. And I'm still gonna give it a little roll to make that nice sphere shape. And I'm just gonna go through all this mixture and do the same thing. You do not have to have this tool. You could definitely just use a little tablespoon or just eyeball it, but I like my shapes to be as even as possible. So now that I have all my little cake bites ready to go, these are gonna go into the freezer for about 20 minutes, and this step is imperative. You do need these cold, and I found like the 15 to 20 minute range is perfect. You don't wanna go over that, you don't wanna go under that. It's like Goldilocks, just right, 15 or 20 minutes. And while these are in the freezer, I'm going to prepare my candy melts. I'm going to lay some parchment paper, or you could use wax paper, on the counter, and I'm gonna get my sprinkles ready. So my cake bites are cold, and I'm ready for the next step. So I'm gonna dip them into my candy melts, and then I'm gonna sprinkle them with these Paw Patrol themed sprinkles. And I actually separated out, they have these like really cute little dog bones, but these don't really sprinkle very well. So I have found that in general, when I am doing cake pops, I always separate out the bigger sprinkles from the smaller ones and like add them in. And I just found these on Amazon, and I know Declan is gonna be so excited. He just loves Paw Patrol. So all I'm gonna do next is drop this into my cake pop mixture and plop it down onto my parchment paper. I'm gonna give it some generous sprinkles. And the candy melts does harden very fast, so I like to work like basically 2 at a time. So just before it hardens, I'm gonna go back and add in my little dog bone right on the top. So I'm just gonna continue doing this until these are all done. So as these are drying, I'm going to cover my Styrofoam 3 with some press and seal. So I got this Styrofoam 3 on Amazon, of course, where you can literally find anything. You could probably use saran wrap as well, but I'm gonna use some press and seal just because since this is food, I don't necessarily want that coming in contact with the Styrofoam. All right, 3 is covered, it's ready to go. And the next step is to start placing the little cake bites all over the 3. And the way that I attach them is by using toothpicks. So the really fun thing about this is I'm doing Paw Patrol, obviously, for my nephew, but you could do so many different themes with this. You could use any sort of shape, you know, letter or number that you want. You could make it really any theme. I actually toyed with the idea of making a construction themed little letter cake for my nephew because he also likes construction, but you could do like mermaid, you could do, you know, really anything. So you can see I'm just inserting my toothpick directly into the Styrofoam, and I'm just gonna pop the little cake bite right on top of there. And this is nice because it keeps it very secure, so they're obviously not gonna fall off. Little cake bites do dry relatively quickly. I'm gonna start with the ones that I made yesterday just to give these a few more minutes. And if your cake bites, because they dry flat, actually have like a little bit of excess, you're just going to trim it off with a knife, which is really nice and simple to do. All right, so this is perfect. This is covered, and I actually have quite a few left over, which is perfect because I have 6 nieces and nephews, and I'll just pack them up and those will definitely get eaten as well. So all I'm gonna do from here is I'm just going to insert these just kind of in between where I think they would look cute. Trying to put like the main characters front and center. So my Paw Patrol themed number cake is done, and it was extremely easy to make, as you guys could see, and just so customizable. And this is definitely beginner level, like really anybody could master this. And it's just like a really fun twist on the classic birthday cake. So I hope that you guys enjoyed learning this technique, and if you did, don't forget to give this episode a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.